To begin this lesson, I'll open a new blank Excel workbook. In the last lesson, you learned that when you create custom styles, they're only available within the workbook in which they were created. Sometimes it's useful to have the same set of custom styles available across multiple worksheets. In this lesson, we'll cater for a requirement for Empire car sales. Empire need to have 3 custom styles available in any workbook, and the only way you can do this is by creating a master style book. So even though it's not completely necessary, I'll type a title in cell A1, Empire Styles. Now let me describe the requirement. Sid Slater, the owner of Empire Car Sales, knows that you have to keep your stock turning over. His salesmen are allowed to discount 10% off the sticker price on all cars. So my first custom style is going to be called 10% max discount. If a car's been on the forecourt for more than 2 weeks, they're allowed to discount up to 15%. So my next style will be 15% max discount. And after the cars have been on the forecourt for 3 weeks, they can go to 20% max discount. After 4 weeks, the cars go back to auction because nobody wants to buy them. Sid's salesmen need to know the maximum discount they can offer, but Sid doesn't want the customers to find this out, so they use a cunning system of colour coding on the stock list. Cars that have a 10% maximum discount are coloured blue. For a 15% discount, they're coloured green, and for a 20% maximum discount, they're coloured orange. The stock list is produced every week in Excel with 3 custom cell styles, 1 for each discount. Now, to avoid having to constantly recreate custom cell styles, they're going to be stored in this master style book. Then Sid can merge this workbook with his stock list each week so that the 3 styles are always available. So let's begin by defining the 3 custom styles in the styles workbook. We're going to do this the easy way, by example. So first of all, I need to set up the correct formatting in cells A3 to A5. We said the 10% discount would be blue, so I'll click in cell A3, Home on the ribbon, in the font group the right-hand side of the Fill Colour button, and I'll choose a light blue. For 15%, we said the colour would be green, so the same thing, but this time a light green colour. And for 20%, we said that the colour would be orange, so let's choose a light orange colour. Now that I've set up the formatting for each of the styles in cells A3 to A5, it's time to create the custom styles by example. So I'll click in cell A3, then Home on the ribbon, in the Styles group, Cell Styles. I'll select New Cell Style from the bottom left of the gallery, and notice that this dialog says by example. In other words, all of the formatting in cell A3 will be stored in this style, and I'll call the style 10% max discount and click OK. Now I'll do the same for the 15% style, select it, bring up the Cell Styles gallery, New Cell Style, this time 15% max discount. And then I'll do the same thing for the final style, select cell A5, bring up the Cell Styles gallery, click New Cell Style, and we'll give it the name 20% max discount and click OK. And if I bring up the Cell Styles gallery again, you can see the 3 new custom styles at the top left of the gallery. Now I'm going to save this workbook. So File, Save As. I'll save it to my computer, and I'll save it into my practice folder, and I'll save with the name Empire Styles. I'm not going to close the Empire Styles workbook for the moment. You'll see why in just a moment. Now I'm going to open the sample file Empire Car Sales Stock List 1 from my sample files folder. I'd like to apply one of my 3 custom styles to each of the cars on the stock list. But if I click Home on the ribbon, Styles, Sell Styles, you can see that my custom styles aren't available. That's because styles are only available within the workbook in which they were created. But of course, I can merge those styles from my master style book. So I'll click Merge Styles at the bottom of the gallery. And notice the wording here, choose an open workbook to copy its cell styles into this workbook. And that's why I left Empire Styles open. So I'll select the Empire Styles workbook and then click OK. And yes, I will merge any styles that have the same name, even though there aren't any. Now I'll click Home on the ribbon, Styles Group, Cell Styles, and notice my 3 custom styles at the top left of the Cell Styles gallery. Now it's time to apply those styles. The Volvo and the Ford have just arrived, so I'll select cells A8 to G8, hold down Control, and then A10 to G10. Then Home on the ribbon, Styles, Cell Styles to bring up the gallery, and because these cars have just arrived, it will be the 10% maximum discount style. The BMW and Alfa Romeo have been in stock for 2 weeks, so I select the BMW sales, hold down Control, and the Alfa Romeo sales, bring up the Cell Styles gallery, and this time it's the 15% max discount style. And the Volkswagen and Mercedes have been in stock for 3 weeks, so I'll select Volkswagen and Mercedes, once again the Cell Styles gallery, and 20% maximum discount on those 2 cars. All that remains now is to save your work, and I'm going to save with the new name Empire Car Sales Stock List 2. And as usual, I'll save to the folder above my sample files folder. I click the Save button, and you've now completed Lesson 414. Use a master style book to merge styles.